Hello and welcome to this edition of FYI. I'm Elaine Chang Baxter, the Director of Partnerships for Montgomery County Public Schools. With us in the studio today is Seth Adams. Seth is the Director of the Montgomery County Public School Division of Design and Construction. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
So what exactly does your Division of Design and Construction do?
So our division, we're involved in the planning from a design perspective of new schools, additions, so pretty much everything from large projects such as Seneca Valley all the way down to small space changes, portable classrooms, infrastructure upgrades. So we're involved from really start to finish, from design all the way through construction.
With changes occurring in the 21st century education, how is your office adapting to providing learning environments that meet the needs of today's students? Sure.
Well, I think this is a really important question, and it's one where you really have to understand what it means to be 21st century learner. Our office has spent quite a bit of time working with educators and school community stakeholders to really understand how we can impact the learning environment around this student-centered, student-driven environment. So philosophy is changing in terms of how the classroom functions. And one of the questions most folks ask are, should the classroom look the way it did when we were students? And really the answer is no. So there's a lot of changes in some key areas really to promote the collaboration. Again, the student-centered environment, really focus on active learning rather than passive learning. Areas around movement, both inside the classroom and around the building, areas around technology, and one that we really take pride on is really from creating schools that are the heart of communities. Really making sure that these schools are something that students are proud of, communities are proud of, parents are proud of. Really the entire school community can be a part of this project and the academics that go on in these schools.
You had mentioned indoor space. Can you elaborate on what some changes to indoor space might look like, or what you guys are envisioning?
Sure. So in some of the indoor spaces, especially with classrooms and other things, we really have a focus on flexible design. And a lot of folks have questions about what flexible design means. It really can mean anything from having spaces that can serve in multiple uses from interdisciplinary, but really how we're looking at flexible spaces is how's learning happening in these spaces. So furniture is certainly a big part of it, but really the space in itself. These spaces can serve everything in between traditional classroom to seminar space to design type spaces. Or even quiet areas for reading and self-directed learning. So when you talk about the classroom, really looking at it from being able to meet the needs of every student, of every teacher throughout the school day. You talk about some of the bigger spaces. We spent a lot of time really looking at cafeterias. Cafeterias, for example, what we usually think of as a cafeteria is a big square, one in which really has this manufacturing type of approach, quickly in and out. Whereas we're stepping back, we're looking at these spaces to see how they can be inviting, how there's areas where students want to be, looking at everything from artwork to technology to comfortable seating options. So really transforming it from just one use as a cafeteria to multiple uses for students, before or after. As well as community uses. We know our schools are a large part of the community. We want to make sure these spaces are more than just cafeterias and that they can serve a range of options and needs.
I can certainly appreciate the vision that is being put forth, and I'm sure the engaging of the community voices in terms of helping to design, having recently overseen that process at a school where I used to be principal. It's just, we were just so happy with our final product as a whole community.
Well, thank you.
What about outside? You had mentioned that there are some thoughts going on in terms of outdoor space too.
Sure. So one of the areas we also focus on is outdoor learning environments, as well as how the outdoors does create a different sense of place for students. So things around outdoor classrooms, that is one of the areas we're focusing on, looking for opportunities to make sure the nature and the environment are part of the daily routines. Looking for opportunities to do again traditional classroom opportunities outdoors, as well as having opportunities for students to do collaboration type work. And even beyond that, really a focus on what are the needs of our schools. As we are urbanizing in large parts of our county, we look at elementary recess, for example. Does it make sense to approach recess the same as we did many years ago? And really, again, the answer is no. And we're looking at opportunities for it to be more of an engaging space for our students. Obviously during the school day, but also after hours when these again become community centers.
That's exciting to hear. Was there anything else that you wanted to add about flexible learning environments?
Sure. So from the flexible perspective, again, there's a range of options in our classrooms that we look at. But one area that I probably didn't touch on is furniture. Furniture plays such a huge part in the new vision, new approach to these spaces. So when you talk about furniture, you want to have a space that can be converted from what could be considered a traditional, maybe almost like a lecture style, to a space where you can have multiple small group instructions, and then quickly convert back to a space for presentation type work. So this furniture really plays a big part in how these classrooms function. So there's certainly a great amount of effort that goes into the thought process around what type of furniture and how it interacts with students. There's also some other really neat things that are happening. There's things like wobble chairs, for students that need to exert a little bit of energy during the day. Stand-up desks. Variety of different options in the classroom. So depending on the student needs, the classroom type or the function, there's plenty of opportunities for students to stay engaged throughout the school day.
Seth, you had also shared earlier that there's some new greener, energy efficient ideas that are coming down the pike. Can you elaborate on some of those?
Sure. So one of the priorities of our office is sustainability, and sustainability means a lot of things to a lot of different folks. But for us, from a sustainable perspective, it's really creating energy efficient green schools that can act as a teaching tool for our students. So when we approach sustainability, it's not just from the perspective of what is the materials or the process to reduce waste and reduce energy, but it's really also taking a step further and to making sure that those types of technologies can be integrated into the curriculum and have the building really be part of the academic experience.
What do you envision being the impact on students and their learning, with this new vision down the line?
So we really hope that this is a vision and implementation that does create a sense of pride. Talked about from a community standpoint, but truly from the student standpoint. We want to be able to support our educators. We want to be able to support our students. So the vision or the change in approach is really around creating these spaces for students to participate, to be active in their education, and to really have opportunities for them and environments for them to excel.
Wow, that's exciting. I'm so glad to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Lots of really great, exciting vision. I'm excited to see one of these new schools.
Look forward to it soon.
I'm Elaine Chang Baxter. I'm the Director of Partnerships. Join us next time on FYI.